What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
And live from the pizza place at Eddie's house, it's Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net. We are live. It is Summerslam 2017. Been a hell of a busy week, guys. Of course, myself, Stan Grubb, and my tag team partners, as always, Brian Taylor.
Hello.
Rob Hefner.
Stan, that probably was the dumbest joke I've heard you say in a long time.
I say a lot of good
From
jokes.
the pizza, what? I didn't get it.
You would have said it. If it wasn't me, you'd have did it. So, are you jealous that you didn't say it, or you want to make fun because you didn't say it?
I want to make fun of you because it didn't make sense.
Because you didn't say it.
No, it didn't make sense.
This whole bit is not making sense right now.
Oh, goodness gracious. Tons
That makes sense.
tons to talk about. We had Ultimate Championship Wrestling on Friday night, which was probably one of the best experiences I've had in some time. We also had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn last night, where we saw the debut of Adam Cole, baby! And also the, I guess...
Redragon.
Yeah, is it Redragon or Red Dragon?
It's Redragon.
Redragon.
I don't know why.
Because Red Dragon makes sense.
Yeah. Or Dragons with an S make more sense.
Careful. We're putting logic and wrestling together. It's a crazy business. We don't want to do that too much. So we have all sorts of stuff to talk about from that. Let's go ahead and start off with talking about UCW Friday night. Of course, if you're just joining us, we are watching SummerSlam as it happens right now. New SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, defeat the New Day. Also, new Women's Champion on the Raw side for Sasha Banks, fourth time being Women's Champion for that. And then, of course, Natalya beating Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Also, should point out that Carmella, while watching the matchup, did not get involved, did not attempt to cash in. Baron Corbin losing clean to John Cena. I don't know whose name I was trying to say first, but the punishment seems to continue for Baron Corbin as he beaten handedly by John Cena. We've got Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins taking on Sheamus and Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Guys, unless I'm mistaken... Oh, I'm sorry. Neville defeated Tozawa,
I'm checking on that one. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I actually missed that.
I'm pretty sure what it popped up on my thing that they... But I'll have to double check.
So...
Yes, Neville beat
Tozawa. Okay, so Neville is a two-time Cruiserweight champion. So you're up to speed as we have it.
Tozawa makes film.
They didn't have a samurai, right?
Yep.
Wow.
I think there's another phrase in there too, but I can't say.
Careful. Guys, let's talk about Friday night. First time experience for us as we were firsthand for the return of Ultimate Championship Wrestling. Rob, we'll start with you. I mean, what were your thoughts going in? How did you think the event went?
I mean, I didn't know what to think at first because it was a private event. So, it's kind of like, when you're invited to somebody else's party and you're like, all right, how's it going to go? But from the get-go, from being greeted by the ones in charge and being treated with nothing but the utmost respect and given basically carte blanche of whatever we want. I mean, the guy said, where do you want to set up? And who can we have available for you, and made talent available like right there to the point where we had guys standing in line waiting to talk to us, which to me was not what I expected, but awesome. And how they want us to come back, and it was a cool first experience. Never having called matches like that, and not knowing what to expect, but it was neat to see a history event like a Federation come back. Brian?
I will have to say that the card was probably better than their match calling, but we were hampered with probably 200 plus screaming drunk fans.
Yeah.
And
drunk skydivers.
Yeah. We instead of being able to sit down where the mic was steady, we had to stand and hold the mic, and so we apologize for anything like that. But the show itself, I thought, was pretty solid, pretty entertaining. I mean, if you can entertain drunk skydivers,
you're doing something right.
I think you're doing something. I enjoyed it. Again, hats off to management for making us feel like family right from the start. They allowed us to come in. They allowed us to stay. They allowed us to talk to talent. And they've allowed us to come back. So I appreciate it. And I think it was a good show.
Oh, man. When we first started doing Corner to Corner over a year ago, we joked about possibly being ringside at an event, calling the play-by-play, and at that point I remember thinking, there's no way, because I mean, we're three very ordinary average fans. We love wrestling, and we always have, always will, but I think we're all very aware of what our perceived limitations were at that point. And as time dragged on, and as we continued to improve, we met up with some folks that let us know that Ultimate Championship Wrestling was going to be coming back to our area, and actually was able to see the return event, first time in over 15 years, held inside a flight hangar, which was so super cool. The temperature, you may remember last week, so we talked about how doing an event in a venue that doesn't have air conditioning, we'd never do that. Well, we learned that lesson the hard way. I like to think Carmel was coming back to bite us in the ass on that. But, for as hot as it was so much more fun. And we recognized that it was uncomfortable at points, but it was fun. It was exciting. We were able to really enjoy. Cesaro says, no, you don't get to throw beach balls at my wrestling show. Thank you, Cesaro.
That is crazy. Just literally ripped up the beach ball.
He said, screw you guys. This is my ball now. And then he flattened it. But yeah, like the guy said, as soon as we walk in the door, Rafael Diego, better known as the Latin Lover, and Sir Everett Dubois, two guys running the show, were there. The Woodies were there. We were able to right away shake hands and, hey, learned a quick lesson right off the bat. That was an experience. But they did. They made themselves available. They put us wherever we wanted to be. We probably could have been at ringside if we asked. And I didn't really think to ask us if we could be, because I wanted to just make sure we were not in the way, but also being a help. If you've checked out...
But also, we didn't know what we were expecting,
Right.
We didn't know they were going to allow us to call it and do all the stuff we did. So
yeah, and that was the coolest part, was the moment they started saying, so what do you need? And they just kept saying, what do you need? What do you need from us? What can we get for you? What can we do for you? And, for us, it's like, dude, we're just guests, man. Thanks for letting us just walk in the door, much less do the interviews we did. We had a great interview with Sickened, with Noise Pollution, the new UCW Tag Champions, Ron Holiday, Joe King. All of these guys were super nice, and it was pretty cool watching them line up to have interviews with us and sit down at the table and talk with us about their careers. But
the cool thing is, come the 23rd, if Noise Pollution happens to make its way back over to us, we can just dispense with the whole
formalities. Right.
Correct.
And just dive right into it.
Now we can go right into it.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that was probably the toughest part. All of these gentlemen, except for maybe Joe King, we hadn't really met before. We hadn't.
No, that's not true. Yeah. We've inadvertently met Joe King before.
Right. But,
not knowing we've met Joe King. We've met Joe King.
And they were all like super cool to us, even though we were doing what many people would call the generic wrestling interview. How'd you start? Who trained you? What were your influences? And then we dove into what do you think of your opponent, where we're at, and all that. So the interviews were good, but they were a little primary, a little elementary, I guess. But it gave, I hope, all of you listeners a familiarity with these gentlemen so that when we go forward into UCW, and oh, by the way, September 23rd is coming faster than we can realize, but we're going to have another opportunity. We're going to be sitting down, and who'd have thought we'd be standing at a wrestling show doing play-by-play, just the three of us goofing off and giving our thoughts and our takes. And they very easily could have told us to stop. They could have told us, you can't do it. But as a matter of fact, they encouraged it. They wanted to know what we were doing. Fans were coming up to us, asking us questions. They gave us press passes. I mean, does it get any cooler than that? I don't know, man. It's for me, that's a wrestling dream. I've always wanted to do something like that. I can't wait till September 23rd. We're already making some steps to make sure we avoid some of the audio issues we ran into the last time. For that, I definitely apologize. As Brian was saying, we had to hold the mic up and stand up rather than sitting down at the table. And unfortunately, that caused some of our audio issues because the mic that we were using isn't meant to be held and moved around so much. So. But we learned a lesson, and we're going to go forward, and it was really a hell of a time. We can't say enough good things about DeVard, Mr. Diego, and everyone else at UCW. The Woodies, Sickened, Ron Holiday, Noise Pollution. The matchups were good. The pace was good. It was only an hour long, but they kept everything controlled, and the crowd was hot.
I mean, I think we'll build it from there. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what to expect from us. But then they've also steadily given us props and positive feedback since we left. So it's not like, they were being polite. And then once you leave, it's, who are you? They've made strides to get to know us and to see who we are. And so it's going to be interesting on September 23rd in
Sterling,
Virginia at the Dulles
Sportsplex.
Sorry, I just had a brain thing there for a minute.
So I checked out the Dulles Sportsplex, did a little bit of research about the arena that we're headed to for September 23rd. Looks like the max capacity is somewhere around 2,000 people. They've held MMA fights there. They've held indoor lacrosse there. They've held indoor soccer. So this is not a bar. Put it to you that way. It's a large venue capable of satisfying multitudes of fans. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. They just recently announced the signing of Tara Calloway. Casey Carlisle is now involved. They're announcing signings pretty much every day. So go to ucwforever.com. Check out their roster. Check out their events. Tickets go on sale Friday for the September 23rd event at the Dulles Sportsplex in Sterling, Virginia.
All right, so now that we've all done the bootlicking, let's tell them about the matches.
So started off with the event with Joe King versus Sickened.
And Joe King was a last-minute replacement for Pork Chop.
Right, Pork Chop is that I'm aware of. He's at home recovering. But he had an issue with diabetes, and we're wishing him a good, fast recovery. Joe King, many people would recognize from a different promotion, actually refereeing at a different locale, but was a fill-in for Pork Chop.
He just went there, didn't he?
I tried to clean it up.
But you didn't just like when I was just like.
I guess we got to tread lightly on that from now on, huh? I'm sorry. My apologies. But Joe King was in control for majority of the matchup against Sickened. Sickened was kind kind of reminds me of the description that I've heard from Eddie and Wicked Nemesis about a guy named Spiral. High flyer, uses a lot of kicks, a lot of fast movement, and honestly, the matchup between the two of them was pretty good. Didn't necessarily expect Joe King to be as much in control as he was the majority of the match.
King looked to be, from appearances, he didn't, to me, you wouldn't have thought he was that polished. Right, I really thought he was very polished after watching him.
Yeah.
Just to look at him, you're kind of like, okay. But then to see him in there, and it's like, oh, wow, you know.
And when he sat down, and talked with us, to me, I got the impression he was nervous. Yeah. Like, he didn't seem like he was really confident in what he was doing. But maybe he kayfabed this all because he got in the ring and he was in control pretty much the whole time.
Well, it could have been. I think it might have been also one of those that when the lights come on, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he flips the switch.
Right.
And I was pleasantly surprised, like you all. But again, we'll see him again, hopefully down the road. Wrestling 16 years? He took on Sicken, who actually trains wrestlers, didn't he? And I don't know if you all saw it, but while we were interviewing Holiday, was it? When we were interviewing Holiday, Sicken was in the ring training people on the card.
I did see that.
He was giving them pointers and stuff.
They were doing walkthroughs. I did notice that. And Sicken, he had a good showing for himself. Definitely, you could tell these two were chosen to start the event off for a reason. And they definitely did. They got the crowd involved. The one thing, if there is an observation, is there wasn't a clear-cut who's a good guy, who's a bad guy here. But I think it's tough to do that because of the fact that they didn't see him before.
I think King was a clear bad guy. It took him of about
he definitely played the bad guy.
10 seconds before it was like, he's the bad guy. Even if he's from Orange, he's the bad guy.
And Mr. Big Stuff came out, talked about how these women need to go make him a Big Mac.
That was Big Stuff and Fatty McNasty. We had KR Superstar in one corner. And did I read it right? Was someone supposed to be in Fatty's corner as well?
I think it was Sharky.
Maybe he just wasn't there then.
Or no, DuPont. I think it's DuPont. Maybe.
But that matchup, of the matchups on the card, of the matchups on the card, I think that one specifically was a little slower, and it seemed like it was a little questionable as to what they were going to do. But it wasn't a poor match. It seemed like they didn't really have a whole lot of a plan involved. But I don't know exactly how that gets put together. I'm again, it's all fan perspective. But if I had to pick on anything, I would say I just didn't really follow what they were trying to do.
Well, I also think that they were hindered by the time constraints that they had.
That I would agree with.
I know that they had to, they did the show at a certain time, and it had to be over by a certain time because, by the time the show was over, the bonfire was so big, outside.
That was...
and so...
Women were flashing men. It was dogs and cats living together. Men, mass hysteria.
Sorry, I don't want to even talk after that. I apologize.
Wow. Okay.
But, so... That's the second match, wasn't it? Mr. Big Stuff and Fatty McNasty.
Right, and then we had...
And Kevin Reynolds got pinned.
Yeah. Maybe it was just... Maybe what they did was, the noise level was pretty high there. So maybe what we missed was it was actually supposed to be like a handicap match. I don't know. But Reynolds took the fall, or took the loss. There we go. Let's see. We had Noise Pollution versus Outlaw Inc. Now, you guys really enjoyed Outlaw Inc. You thought they were a real good throwback kind of style.
One of them was. But I thought it was great. I thought Outlaw Inc. was good. I liked Noise Pollution.
Yeah.
They matched their ring style, their wrestling ability. And so...
you forgot Holiday and Tremor, too.
Yep.
Ron Holiday was a real upbeat, real party guy. He was ready. He was excited to be there. But he took on a guy that was having none of that noise. Tremor, who intimidated the crowd, intimidated his opponent, and made short work of him. Holiday went for, what was it he was going for? He dove off the top.
He wasn't the only one that got intimidated. Who else got intimidated?
What, by Tremor?
Yeah.
Oh, easily I was. I'm not going to argue. Easily I was.
Somebody peed a little bit.
There was no puddle. You can't prove that. But Tremor made short work of Ron Holiday, caught him from the top as he came from the top rope, then repositioned him, did a choke slam, and that was all she wrote. And we have got new tag team champions, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I guess the Shield 2.0. Wow. What do you think about that one? I guess you kind of saw that coming. I mean, the momentum they were building up for the Shield reunion.
Well, see, now that they get to do the whole, like, Kane and...
All right, you marks. You're back on point.
Brian, what do you think about Tremor and Ron Holiday?
I was pretty good, fast, upbeat. Yeah, Eddie, we saw new tag team fast. What are you sticking there, kid? I mean, it was fast. Holiday's another one that kind of surprises you as far as what he can do in the ring.
He did look good. It was just Tremor was having none of the party. He didn't really want to. He wasn't up for the party guy scene.
So what holiday was it? Halloween.
I don't. You guys came up with like 3 different holidays just for each shot that Ron Holiday took. That matchup, by the way, with Ron Holiday and Tremor, you can catch the play-by-play of that with the Triple Threat on Spreaker.com. That is available for download right now. Also, you can catch the play-by-play for Sickened and Joe King. Unfortunately, with some of the audio issues we had, we did unfortunately not catch the audio for the main event, so I apologize for that. That's my fault. I'll take responsibility for it. I apologize that happened.
And don't forget about Ethan Cross and Mr. Grimm.
That matchup was great. Ethan Cross and Mr. Grimm. I'm not incredibly familiar with either guy, but wow, they really brought it. Mr. Grimm. Let's point out that Mr. Grimm moves at his size. He moves like he's only 120 pounds, but he's got to be 250, 260. Moves very fluid in the ring. He took a hand injury towards the end of the matchup, and it ended up costing him as the matchup finally came to the end. Ethan Cross winning the UCW Television Championship, and I believe that is their first ever television champion. Correct? I don't think they had a TV title before. They had a cruiserweight or a lightweight. They had a heavyweight, and they had tag titles before, but I don't remember them having.
Yeah, that would have been 9 or 15 years.
Yeah. But that matchup was a great main event. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see them go at it again. Ethan Cross, of course, is a veteran known throughout Virginia, training a lot of the guys we see in multiple different promotions, including Maryland Championship Wrestling, Combat Zone, Nova Pro, and now UCW. Sickened as well has trained people in Combat Zone, MCW, trained with, and now, of course, UCW. The Tag Team Championship match, I really enjoyed Noise Pollution. I was looking forward to that one most of all. Rock Richards and Mad Max Morrison. And I got to apologize right off the bat because Rob knew Max's last name the entire time. And I kept thinking to myself, why does he keep saying Morrison? And I finally was able to look up the information and get a last name that I had no idea what it was. So I'm sorry if I stepped on you throughout that because I had no idea where you got it, but you had that knowledge. Well, I didn't look there, so.
But I just want to say that Sickened just announced that he was happy to be a part of the UCW show, and he is still the ATCW EPPW Independent Cruiserweight Champion. he defended has successfully Maybe he did. I don't know.
Damn. Second, if you're out there, buddy, congratulations on successfully defending your championship. That's a lot of initials, by the way, Rob. For the PN News WW4567 championship.
Well, let's go back to the main event, okay?
Right.
Ethan Cross versus Mr. Grimm.
Yes.
Who picked Ethan Cross? Who is Ethan Cross's pick to win? Was it yours, Stan?
No, it was not.
Was it yours, Brian?
No.
Was it mine? Yes, it was.
I mean, Rob Stradamus was at play, and Brian, we were suckered because he's got the Rob Stradamus powers, and we don't.
So is Shane McMahon's spray tan, apparently.
Woo! Which spray tan is worse, Shane McMahon's or Cass?
Talk about random comments.
Just saying, you said spray tan.
Why are we jumping all over the place?
But
one train of thought, kid. One train of thought.
I think one of the cool things I liked about the way the show was and the size of the show was that the talent, once they got done, they came out and started mingling with the crowd.
That was pretty cool.
And these people, after the whole thing was over, this couple, husband and wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or hey, I just met you a couple minutes ago.
As much alcohol that was flowing there, it could have been.
Okay, because the thing, the key that was forgotten was that there was a beer truck backed to the door of this place.
Which is the smartest thing you can ever do at a wrestling event, by the way.
But, this guy and girl they do the wrestling thing, and he goes to pin her.
Oh, yeah, Ron Holiday.
Ron Holiday runs over there and counts
to
1, 2, 3.
And gets a phone number in the process. Ron Holiday was snagging more phone numbers. I wonder if maybe he's got... Because what did he call it during the interview? He called wrestling his hustle. No, I have to think that maybe wrestling might be more of a job and his hustle happens outside the ring, because that man he was on point. Apparently the ladies enjoyed it. So, got to tell you, it was an absolute blast. And I can't wait to go to Dulles Sportsplex. That's going to be a blast.
That is going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, and it's just going to be so much fun to see how UCW grows from here.
Well, you got to give it to them. They had it organized. Mm-hmm. They had a plan in place. They had Inside Baseball. They had run sheets for what the show was going to involve as far as matchups. And that was the one thing that stood out to me, was that they had a plan, and it was executed perfectly. They saw what kind of time they were dealing with. They were prepared. The ring was... We did notice that the ring was a little lower to the ground than what we normally see. Brian, you're more familiar with UCW than we are. I don't remember the ring that they had before being that low. Is that just by design, or?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not that much into it as far as why they chose a smaller ring as opposed to a big one.
I just couldn't. I couldn't figure it. But it didn't really take away from any of the wrestling action. It was just fine.
I think it might have to do with the building, the size of the building they were in. Because if the ring was higher...
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
If the ring was higher, then it would have kind of thrown the aesthetics of the place off. But a lot of companies use low boy rings, as they're called, according to Eddie.
Okay, yeah. He says it depends on the roof inside the building. That makes sense, because had it been a full size from the ground, had they gone up to the top rope, they might have actually caught one of the rafters of that hangar, which would have been a mess. But actually, that could have been entertaining too. The whole layout of this place was neat. We sent pictures over to Eddie. We were legitimately in a airline hangar, an old school hangar, and both the front and the back of the building was opened up to get as much airflow as they could. We had, Brian, would you say 200, 300 people there, at least? And everybody was ready to go. It was... I would say that it was a good first outing for UCW. I'm sure they're excited to go into this next showing on September 23rd for September 23rd for, I believe they're calling it Defiance is their first show. And it's a TV taping, so be sure to go to eventbrite.com, get your tickets right away. We'll put the links out there throughout the week, of course, so that you can be prepared on Friday to place your order.
Because the card is UCW World. There's going to be a World Heavyweight title match. Bill Collier versus Juggernaut. The television, Ethan Cross will defend against Hiro Maramoto. Noise Pollution and Outlaw Inc. are going to go back at it. And then there's a three-way dance, Mr. Grimm, Sicken, and MV Young. And then Trimmer takes on Jake Hollister and Cheap Thrills versus Hounds of Hope. So,
did you mention Noise Pollution? Don't Outlaw Inc. Get a return? Did you mention that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so out of the roster that UCW has presented and both is showing on their website, I would have to say that like the standout performer is either going to be Noise Pollution or Sickened for what we could expect going forward. What do you guys think?
My bet's on Noise Pollution.
I'll say Ethan Cross.
Well, he's the UCW television champion. Tag team champions, of course, Noise Pollution. And then there's going to be a women's division. Tara Calloway was just announced as signed. Tess Valentine there as well. Casey Carlisle is on there as well. So they're starting off with good possibilities, good future on the horizon for them. And we are headed right into Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon for the United States. Kevin Owens and AJ Styles for the United States Championship with Shane McMahon as the special guest referee. It's not always very easy to remember everybody's names in the right order.
I mean, they're right in front of you, though.
I'm sorry.
Now, how soon do you think the WWE shop's going to have that ref shirt?
I don't know, a couple weeks, I'd imagine. So, of what we've seen so far for SummerSlam, guys, thoughts on the show, thoughts on the card?
So far, I guess it's been above average. But the average is so low for the WWE right now.
The bar's more like a low-hanging jump rope, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I think we've seen more title changes tonight than we have in all the other pay-per-views combined. I can't speak tonight, apparently.
So let's look at, we went from Friday, which was Ultimate Championship Wrestling, to last night, NXT TakeOver 3 from Brooklyn. Results from TakeOver 3. First and foremost, TakeOver has become an entity so big that if NXT was to be on like network television, they could very easily outsell as far as buy rates are concerned for what WWE is doing and what a lot of other companies are doing right now. And if you're not sure of that, I mean, TakeOver 3 is a great example of that. The matches that took place at TakeOver were great. I mean, you had Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas to start the show, a very, very fast-paced matchup. And the finish of that matchup comes from Gargano getting distracted by a Team DIY shirt being thrown in at him, which is kind of cool, but also kind of silly. I mean, if it had been Tommaso Ciampa that had thrown the T-shirt, I think I would have bought more into that whole deal. But the fact is, it was Almas's manager, and her name, which escapes me at the moment, Vega. Sorry, his manager. She throws the shirt in that distracts Gargano as he gets a big hammerlock DDT for the win. Which, by the way, that hammerlock DDT is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. Rob, you ever seen a hammerlock DDT before?
No. No, I thought it looked, and I like seeing Gargano back in the ring.
I did too. Yeah,
I did. I like him. It was fun to see him back in the ring, and I thought NXT had. It turned me off a little bit at the beginning with the live band. I never think that a live band at a wrestling event ever does what they're expecting it to do, you know. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, made the comment to somebody that was watching it, and I said, imagine paying as much money as you had to pay to be on the floor at NXT TakeOver, and then you've got this metal band right behind you blasting in your ears. You know, I'm so glad I paid $400 for these 4 seats a piece.
Oh, and you get the music's not exactly that great either. So it's just, and that's the thing. Like when they played Aleister Black to the ring, and that was cool because they did his intro and all that,
and how he came out from the
that was cool.
That is another one of those characters like Finn Balor that will really translate well on the main stage, I think. So Andrade Cien Almas gets the victory over Johnny Gargano, which I honestly didn't see coming. I thought Gargano was going to win that one. Next up, we had the Tag Team Championship matchup between Sanity and the champions of Authors of Pain.
Oh, but they did the last minute hoodoo, though. Did you see that?
They did, and I'm glad you brought that up. Why would you take a guy like Killian Dane, who is a monster, and have him go to the sidelines while Eric Young takes over for him?
See, the way I thought it should have been done is he tagged out Killian Dane, right?
Right.
But then what they should have done is when one of the other ones was getting winded,
have Dane step back up. Yeah.
He tagged himself back in and went back to work. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought they were going to keep doing that.
Well,
throwing Authors of Pain off, and then Authors of Pain could have worked up the whole, we didn't have a third person, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then the whole Nikki Cross gets in there, and I'm going to stare down or punch out
Paul Ellering.
And no, wait a minute, I'm going to get on the turnbuckle and fly.
That was pretty cool. She got in there. You thought that there was going to be some action between Ellering and Cross, and what turned out to be just like a swerve, I guess. Mm-hmm. Cross goes to the top rope and gets caught, and that was where Killian Dane ran and put both Cross and I don't know if it was Akam or Razor, I can't remember which one it was, but put him right through a table.
Right, and I don't know what was funnier, is that moment or the fact that the Twitter conversation between people. Somebody made the comment of, oh, if Paul Ellering just had a daughter that could come save him.
Huh. Amazing. Yeah.
And Rachel Ellering retweeted it and said, right here.
I mean, it's a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before that happens. I mean, I can't for the life of me understand why she wasn't signed sooner. Why Tessa Blanchard isn't signed sooner. I mean, there's so many solid talents that could be there.
It is, but I think it's just like the cruiserweights. All right? Think of how many people in NXT and WWE now because of the Cruiserweight Challenge. Right? The Cruiserweight Classic.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the women's thing. Well, you got to think there's probably people in the WWE headquarters or whatever that are thinking about the ones that they got. Right. And then you got to think also, in this day and time, in the current wrestling promotion, do they want to be? But I think the reason the WWE's made her go by Rachel Evers, or however they want to say it, is to distance from the novice fan that doesn't know who she really is.
I get it and I don't get it. It's the same thing with back when they called him Michael McGillicuddy instead of Joe Hennig. You're the son of Mr. Perfect. You should be able to capitalize on that legacy. But Owens pushes Shane into the rope, drops AJ onto the top rope. Inadvertent. But anyway, getting back into the matchup of Sanity versus Authors of Pain. Brian, what did you think about the Tag Team Championship match at NXT?
I thought that was actually pretty good. the end especially, but because I wasn't expecting O'Reilly and Fish to be together, but I mean, I thought it was a pretty solid tag team match, so I enjoyed it. I mean, you had a lot of decent spots. Oh,
ouch!
I would have liked to have seen what's his name, Cross smack Ellering, or something, but.
That would have been a great way to introduce Rachel to the NXT roster.
Yeah, just had her run down.
Yeah.
But, I mean, instead she climbed up to the top rope and she goes for a flight. So, but, again, it's a typical NXT match where it's highly entertaining. You can't go wrong with it. So, I didn't worry too much about the way it began. I thought it was just odd, but.
Well, I mean, of those guys, I guess Eric Young is the bigger star, so you're going to spotlight him. But of those three, I mean, wouldn't you have maybe sidelined or put to the side Alexander Wolf?
Yeah, but I mean, Eric's the leader.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of the combination of the three of them. They would probably benefit more from the Freebird rule than New Day does.
Right.
So, again, any of the combinations, I don't have a problem with.
So, Sanity becoming the new NXT Tag Team Champions, and we were talking about it before we actually came on the air tonight. Do you think that Authors of Pain are next up on the call-up list?
If you bring them up, then where are you going to put them? And how are they not going to get squashed?
Well, until SmackDown has a clearer plan for what they're going to do with their tag team division, I wouldn't send them to SmackDown. That just means you send them to a very full Raw roster of tag teams. And
I mean, unless you take them in and they squash the Usos, but the Usos aren't face right now.
Right.
The Usos are doing the heel thing. So it would have made more sense if you were going to bring them to the main roster that, New Day had them, and then New Day was like, well, we beat you, ha, and then bam.
Oh.
That hurt.
Shane just got walloped out of the ring. That had to hurt a lot. Calf crusher from AJ to Kevin Owens. You send them to Raw, they're going to get jobbed out and broken up. You send them, now, if you send them as a package with Paul Ellering, maybe they survive for a little bit. SmackDown, I could see them beating the Usos as kind of the surprise opponent. But there again, to your point, Rob, how long does that last? What do they do next with them? We've been reading here lately that Triple H has actually told Vince when he doesn't want somebody to get the call up. Asuka, who has held the title for over 500 days, he's pretty well demanded that Vince not call her up because she's such a figurehead of that women's division. So we go for the Tag Team Championship match where Sanity wins against the Authors of Pain to the re-debut, I guess, since I know O'Reilly and Fish had debuted on singles matches previous tapings. The re-debut of Re-Dragon. And that was an interesting teasing there as they laid waste to Sanity. And to me, and Authors of Pain, didn't they lay them out too?
Well, no, I think Sanity had taken care of that.
Okay, so it was just them attacking Sanity. But either way, it was cool, and it got the crowd hyped up, which isn't hard to do. If you've got Ring of Honor guys in New York, it's going to pop the crowd, but this was pretty cool. So you go to the next matchup, and unfortunately, this is where I only call it the intros, so Brian and maybe you as well, Rob, you guys probably have a little bit more about this one. Aleister Black taking on Hideo Itami, where Aleister Black had an awesome entrance. That was super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I liked, and, that was a good match. Hideo Itami loses to Aleister Black, therefore continuing the whole Hideo Itami, can't seem to get any momentum going. But the entrance was cool. This move, whatever that just was cool.
I don't even know what you call that. That's crazy.
So, but I thought the match was very steady and fast-paced, Brian. What do you think?
I thought it was all right. I got just a little distracted. I'm not really into Hideo Itami like apparently the rest of America is. So to me, it was more of a slower, brawling pace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with it. It just didn't really hold my attention. I do know. I think I started paying attention to it after Black's nose got busted.
Yeah, once the color came.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, well, this got interesting. Let's see what happens.
And the play-by-play was done by the Hall of Famer Jim Ross. Jim Ross was introduced right before the match. He came out and called the Hideo Itami match, saying how Itami and Finn Balor Itami and Shinsuke were came up in the business together, and how Itami was one of the destined to be great, hottest commodities when he was picked up, but he's been plagued with injuries. So,
yeah, it just wasn't the one that really held my attention. What I saw, I thought was good, but I don't know if there wasn't. To me, it seemed like everybody else has something at stake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? With the reason they're fighting the other person.
Right.
I'm just not sure what theirs was. So I wasn't as invested in that one.
Yeah, that's a good point because Gargano, you had his comeback match. How's he going to look after being away for so long? You had the tag title match, of course. But Aleister Black and Hideo Itami, there really wasn't a lot of build-up for that. We didn't see Cassius Ohno last night, which was interesting. He's built a lot of momentum, and that was a bit of a surprise that we did not see him return. But maybe we see that at the tapings. Maybe that's what comes out of the NXT tape. Wait a second.
A good Lord, kid. I mean, you should have seen that on the first count number one.
Wow. So AJ just had his foot on the rope there. Shane caught it, but caught it way late. And plus, he was right within the line of sight the whole time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, he had it on the rope before he even started counting. And he was looking right at it.
That's dumb. Can't do that. Yeah. Got to position yourself better, Shane. You do know better than that. Women's Championship match. Now, I did catch this match on the replay. Asuka, Ember Moon. Asuka holding the Women's Championship for over 500 days. That is better than Nikki Bella, better than AJ Lee, better than almost up there with like Moolah.
They said it broke the Wendy Richter record.
Oh, wow.
That Wendy Richter had held it longer than that. But
yeah, I mean, as far as the Moolah, right. Moolah had it for 30, 40 years or whatever.
Yeah. She had a San Martino age.
But the thing of it is, though, there were decades that title was not even defended.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there was a point where they stopped with the female wrestlers altogether.
Right.
And they didn't bring them back until Rock and Wrestling.
That's true.
Right up in
Ripley.
that area.
Uh-huh.
Right. So.
Every time I see a Styles clash, I get nervous.
And so the first champ to retain his title.
Wow. AJ Styles successfully defeats Kevin Owens after a Styles clash. Very, very competitive matchup. That was actually really good.
Because if we go on that, then whoever the last hardcore type champion was is still current
reigning defending
the hardcore champion. And the women's tag team the WWE Women's Tag Team Champs. Wasn't
the
that
jumping bomb angels or something like that?
Whatever the golden whatever that Jimmy Hart managed in the 80s. So
anybody else think that Shane was going to kick AJ Lowe, standing behind him like that for a little bit? That could have been interesting. All right, so let's dive into this women's title matchup a little bit. Am I the only one that's not really a believer of Ember Moon? I'm just not bought in. I mean, she does some cool stuff. She's talented, but I'm just not sold. I don't see her as a title contender. Am I just not catching on?
The problem now is you squashed her twice.
What do you think?
I think she's a top flight talent. However, the problem that now exists is Asuka has been monsterized to such a degree that I just literally don't know who you could bring in to defeat her.
I mean, it's literally going to be the only way Asuka loses that belt is going to be she surrenders it to go to the main roster.
Correct. Yeah, she will have to give it up.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they're working for. So the winner of the Mae Young Classic actually gets the NXT title.
I can't see what you said.
But it's like they built up Rusev.
That's a good example.
They built up Rusev to be this unbeatable whatever, and then they punked him out to somebody, and then now he can't build momentum if he was going downhill.
But that's the thing. Like I didn't like Rusev when he was in NXT. Mm-hmm. I thought he sucked then too. I thought he sucked when he debuted at the Royal Rumble, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Rusev! You suck!" He's right up there with Randy Orton. I don't buy it.
Asuka.
Stay
focused.
Asuka and Ember Moon. Thank you. So Ember Moon, matchup wise.
Sorry, y'all. I'm not letting y'all go. You're not going all over the place. You're gonna finish your thought tonight.
Okay, we can do that.
You crazy kid, you.
All right. Anyway, Ember Moon. I mean,
squirrel. Look, Stan's looking at the other direction now.
I'm looking at you.
Staring into your eyes.
Staring into your soul.
Staring in my one eye.
No. I can't find it. I don't have that good a vision. Ember Moon, I just didn't see her as a contender. Honestly, the shoulder injury and all of that, the drama built up for it, I wasn't bought in. But Asuka barely defeating her was a bit of a shock. And especially after catching, I guess you call it like a springboard stunner. Like a twisting springboard stunner. I mean, it was a solid finish, but it seemed like Asuka was just standing there dazed for forever, just waiting for her to jump and go after it. But the matchup itself, I mean, was competitive. While I'm not a big believer in Ember Moon, I think the matchup wasn't too bad.
But he's a believer.
I'm not a believer.
All right, so if not Ember, who?
Nikki Cross, probably.
You would buy Nikki Cross over Ember Moon?
I could believe that Nikki Cross would cheat her way to win that title from Asuka more than I would
if
Ember
Sanity
Moon.
Was involved, I could see that. That's
what I'm saying.
But you would take all three members of Sanity.
And that, honestly, if it's a legit
that may not
fight,
work.
That may not do the job. I mean, if I had my druthers, I'd just leave Asuka as champ for as long as she wants. I mean, let her continue to groom the other women that come through, and if those that are competitive they feel that they're ready, send them up, and she can get called up whenever she wants. I mean,
do you have the attention span for that?
You mean to hold out with her as champion for maybe years at a time? I do. I think you'd have to find a very special character to overwhelm and overpower.
About a year and a half, maybe a little over a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, it's right now in today's. Is there a character on the main roster or elsewhere that would overshadow the dominance of Asuka right now?
Well, the problem is the WWE doesn't. It's not a priority for the WWE to put Asuka out.
It's a fair statement.
But in the, like the article we talked about earlier, how, Triple H had said, you could take anybody, but don't take Asuka.
Right, yeah.
Well, eventually Asuka's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Unless she's one of those ones that he's going to keep in his pocket.
Yeah.
For when he wants to go and be mainstream on a TV network.
And so we go from NXT Women's Championship matchup. We've got more to come. We've got the main event of NXT's TakeOver 3 to talk about.
We gotta go!
And we've got so much more going on. SummerSlam building up to Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal. Folks, stick around. We will be right back in a couple minutes right here on BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Corner to Corner SummerSlam edition right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. The triple threat is into his house still. Shinsuke Nakamura making his entrance to take on the WWE World Champion Jinder Mahal. I know we've got more NXT to talk about, but let's go ahead. Real quick prediction. Brian, Jinder Mahal, Shinsuke Nakamura. Who's winning tonight?
I'd love to say Shinsuke, but it is the WWE, and the pay-per-view's been going so nicely.
So you're saying it's time for great comedy to come out?
It's time for the train wreck to begin.
All right, so Brian just says train wreck. Rob, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the fan vote. I'm going with Shinsuke Nakamura.
All right. Rob's going with the heart of the WWE universe. I'm going to say I want to see Shinsuke win. I really
but
do.
What you're really trying to say is this is probably going to be as bad as Mountain Oysters.
Oh, excuse me. I'm going to hurl.
And look at the pros he's doing at the same time.
Yayo!
Hi-oh!
We both just botched that catchphrase, but okay, it's whatever. All right, so Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys getting ready to make their way to the ring here. So let's talk about the main event of TakeOver 3. Drew McIntyre challenging the glorious one, Bobby Roode. First and foremost, this matchup took place in TNA. Bobby Roode and Drew Galloway at the time. Good matchup at that point, and this matchup did not disappoint. We'll do this individually. Brian, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
I thought it was very surprising that Drew won. But I mean, that title does get flip-flopped sometimes. But I was really looking for Bobby to me, this would have solidified him quite nicely as NXT champ. But I did. Bobby Roode doesn't normally have bad matches, so I thought it was a good match, entertaining. Again, the surprise at the end, I wasn't expecting it. As far as who won, again, I figured Bobby would have won. And I think both of them hit multiple finishers.
They hit the finish multiple times, yeah.
So it's a shame finishers, are starting to go that route. But I thought it was a good opponent. They matched up well. So better than him versus Almas or No Way Jose or something else.
What about the dive that Drew McIntyre did, where he dives over the top rope and Bobby Roode doesn't even make the attempt to catch? I mean, it looked to me like McIntyre landed flat on his back. He caught maybe his hand, part of his foot, to Bobby Roode, and that was it.
I must have missed that.
It was about midway through the matchup. I don't think I've ever seen McIntyre ever do a dive like that.
Well, that's probably why.
And when he barely cleared the top rope when he dove, and he went and did, what do they call it, a senton, I guess, the somersault. I don't know the exact phrase, but he dives over, flips, starts to land, and Bobby Roode is close enough to where he could have made an effort to maybe get more involved in catching him, but instead Drew McIntyre hits back first on the ground with a resounding thud, and Bobby Roode sells it, but definitely didn't make any attempt to catch him. It was bad. Crowd went holy yes. They thought it was entertaining. I felt bad for McIntyre at that point. I don't know if maybe they had talked it over and thought it would go over a little differently, but Roode was definitely not in a position where he could catch.
Well, apparently they didn't talk about it beforehand if Roode wasn't there.
He didn't make an attempt to be there either. He wasn't like, oh, I just missed. No, it was like...
I wonder if as Drew went flying by, if Bobby was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm losing tonight anyway. What are they going to do? I can always go down and work for Jeff.
Now, here's what I think. Tonight, Shinsuke wins. Shinsuke's in the ring celebrating, and all of a sudden everything goes black. The spotlight goes to their entrance ramp, and there's Bobby Roode.
That would be awesome. Rob Stradamus up in here. If that happens, let me just tell you.
If it happens, WWE's got some ratings for the next couple weeks.
And they owe you a royalty check because you just caught it right here on live radio.
But most likely, Jinder's going to be standing in there, and then Randy Orton's going to come out and stare at him so we have another 6 months of Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal.
So, McIntyre comes out NXT champion, and then it gets even more interesting.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rob, before we go over that part, are you disappointed? Are you okay with Drew McIntyre being NXT champion?
I don't know. I'm not sold on Drew McIntyre. Because even though he's in NXT now, I still see the Drew McIntyre towards the end of Impact who had his face and his hair down in his face. He was walking in like, I don't like myself and I'm bored. And my check hasn't gotten out. My check's bounced.
I mean, I'd be depressed if I worked for Dixie Carter, too.
Maybe that's why he was depressed. Maybe he's just walking around going, I'll put as much work into this gimmick as they did in my paycheck.
But think about how far he's come. I mean, he was in 3-man band, for crying out loud.
Well, let's go back further than that.
I mean, he went from...
He was the chosen one.
Yeah, he was the guy. He was being groomed to be the next top star. And then he goes from that 3-man band to out the door, see ya, we don't need you. And here he is back and a champion.
But, you got to think that it's kind of like WWE, they do it for a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they see something in somebody, they bring them in, they see what they got, and then they let them go to see what they're going to do somewhere else.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, look, because you can't tell me there's not talk in WWE about Cody Rhodes.
Oh, no, they're watching. They're watching.
Can I just go on record as saying that Cody Rhodes right now is probably the best champion, world champion, heavyweight champion, whatever you want to call him, on the face of the earth.
I would agree. He's the most
pound for pound, right here, right now, and all the feds. It would be Cody Rhodes.
4 years ago, would you have ever said that about Cody Rhodes?
Well, 4 years ago, I would have predicted him to be WWE champion.
Yeah.
Then came Stardust.
Well, even with Stardust.
Cool. Well, Stardust was fun, but then it was like, just like Goldust. Goldust had a purpose, had a time frame, but then it just became a comic bit,
Like, I feel bad because, like, with Cody Rhodes, like, he hates the Stardust character. Like, you see him in interviews, he hates just talking about it. And I loved it. I thought it was just a great way to have him tag up with his brother and not have to be just Cody Rhodes if he didn't want to be. I liked the dynamic of him being at war with himself. I want to be Cody Rhodes, but I want to be Stardust. Like, I liked that storyline, and I know WWE is the one that dropped the ball on that. But I feel bad sometimes because, like, you hear how angry he is about Stardust, and I'm like, damn, I really enjoyed Stardust.
Well, I also think he's bitter because he sees Stardust as that's who he's going to be remembered. He thinks in his mind right now that's who he's going to be remembered as in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, Dustin will never be Dustin Rhodes in WWE.
Accepted.
Like, if Dustin Rhodes ever gets into the WWE Hall of Fame, which he will, he will go in as Goldust. Just like the guy went in as the Godfather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, imagine a gimmick and Cody thinking maybe, hey, you know what? I don't want to stay here because I don't want to be known solely as Stardust.
So, getting back on that same plane to how this translates for Drew McIntyre after going through Evolve, going through Impact, Global Force, everywhere else that he had been, to come back to NXT and beat Bobby Roode and maybe it's just because I was not really paying attention to NXT as much, but I didn't really think there was as much of a build-up for this title match as there was for, say, Shinsuke versus Bobby Roode.
I don't think there was this much build-up for TakeOver, period.
Did it seem like it was a little light on build-up for this?
I mean, it seemed like we have SummerSlam, and, oh yeah, by the way, TakeOver's a couple days before that.
Well, the whole Shinsuke versus Bobby Roode would be bigger because of who the competitors are.
Yeah.
Shinsuke is the worldwide, everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Bobby Roode would probably fall closer in that category, whereas to me, Drew and Roode, half of the side, half of the coin with Drew, from Impact, how many people remember the Chosen One? How many people remember, the way he was treated and touted, and everybody was like, I don't think so, Jack.
Yeah.
This guy showed me absolutely nothing. He's got like Jinder, Jinder wasn't all that spectacular one time, and he was in, 3-man band or whatever.
Yeah.
And now because he gets, he starts doing the right thing, you actually start to realize, why he's champ.
Well, I mean, you look at it, the three-man band, Heath Slater, first SmackDown Tag Champions with Rhino.
Yeah, but I would have picked Heath Slater over the other two for being world champion.
You think so?
Yeah,
Wow.
I still think so. In 5-10 years, he'll be world champion.
I mean, I think he's got longevity to him because of the fact that he's willing to make fun of himself, but he's also a good, solid performer.
Elbow right to the crown of the head.
I don't want to know. But I mean, it was cool to see Drew McIntyre make his successful return, climbing that mountain. But the coolest part was seeing the aftermath of the main event.
Oh, that was the best.
McIntyre's got the belt. He's in the middle of the ring celebrating with the fans. And there's O'Reilly and Fish in the corner, jaw-jacking with him. And honestly, if you had been following this past week with the news, there were reports that Adam Cole had signed. But, I mean, there's been reports that Adam Cole had signed for months, and he never did. So,
but that may not be true. He may have to have filled
obligation.
Yeah. Right. And I'm sure some people, and I think it just happened with Leo Rush. Mm-hmm. I think he was supposed to be in Maryland on a card, and then next thing you know,
they had
he's not there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Some guys might just be like, well, let's just jump right into it. Mm-hmm. And other guys might be like, well, I have obligations. I'm going to fulfill them first before I.
Well, I also think on how much pull you have.
Yeah.
Someone like Leo Rush doesn't have the pull like someone like Adam Cole would, Adam Cole would have more push with WWE saying, all right, I've got these dates I need to finish.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's kind of like the Hardys coming back.
Yeah.
Because before the Hardys came back, I'd never seen or heard of WWE allowing somebody to finish dates before.
Yeah.
And so then you got someone like Leo Rush, which is, wait a minute. I could see it's like you start a new job and you tell your other boss, hey, I got to go work a couple of days to help them out.
right.
At my old job, and they go, oh well, apparently you don't want to work here. So.
Well, I mean, Leo got to finish his dates with MCW, and then as more bookings were being laid out, it was suddenly he was on the show, and then boom, poof, gone. But Adam Cole coming out, attacking Drew McIntyre, laying him out with the super kick, and NXT TakeOver 3 goes off the air with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish standing triumphant on their debut at NXT. What does this mean for NXT going forward?
Ooh.
Is that look at that triangle submission hold. Wow.
The only thing I'll say about the ending that they should probably have thought better of was apparently the Barclays Center is a fairly good-sized arena, and it probably wouldn't do you no good to have Adam Cole run from what apparently is the top of the arena all the way down because Drew had just turned around and the place was already looking up the stairs. Going nuts, and they're all looking up the stairs still, and I mean he must have been running at a good pace. But
an awkward moment for Drew was like, all right, don't look.
Don't look.
Hey, look what's over here. Let me stare at this.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Even though there were reports he would show up, there were reports that, they'd officially announced that he was signed, all that stuff. That was, to me, that was very well done because you figure, well, the main event's over, nobody's who runs in after the main event
just
anymore?
like TakeOver Chicago, they had us all fooled.
Yeah.
We thought that Ciampa and Gargano were just going to hug and make the way to the back. And
who does that anymore?
Boom!
Yeah.
Probably one of the most gruesome tag team turns I've ever seen.
Oh, man.
I mean, it almost harkens back to the old NWA stuff. You almost could have heard Morrow and the other two announcers.
Nigel and Percy.
Yeah, Nigel, and then be like, we're out of time. We gotta go.
right.
As Adam Cole slides under the ring, and you're like, you.
But they're so good at getting us with that. And the thing is, you're in the same company, the same office building You can't translate that to the main stage. One time, do that on Raw.
Well, it's not in the main. It's not in the like. NXT's all operated out of Florida with oversight from Triple H.
Yeah.
You know, Triple H has a live feed streamed to his office.
Yeah.
When they're from the Performance Center, he can look at anything at any time
and see if they're working.
Yeah. Right. And see what they're doing. But and so.
Oh,
what?
Jinder beats Nakamura.
Wait a minute. Beat him clean.
Well, maybe we'll still get Bobby Roode if we know it's over.
I mean,
no Bobby Roode.
Dang.
What are them Singh brothers? They just always get laid out.
They need a pay raise is what they need.
I mean, maybe it's just easier writing for a smaller group. You know, maybe you can concentrate more than the crowd is stunned.
Yeah, they've taken the air out of the arena. Wow. Look at those reactions. And it just went over like a lead balloon.
Congrats. But they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in their mind, everybody bought tickets and they're still buying tickets. They bought tickets just to see this.
From their perspective, they're thinking that Jinder's over because the crowd is so upset.
Right, yeah.
But it's not as much as that he's over, it's that they don't like it. I mean, they're just
not. But again, Nakamura's been punked out.
And that can only go on for but so long. Shinsuke can only be put in that position for but so long before finally it's like Bray Wyatt where you just don't even expect him to ever win.
Well, I mean, it's like the club. You bring the club in with all the fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hold the belts for how long? Or have they even held them yet?
They held the tag show
for a month, maybe?
Yeah. So they hold them, and then bam. It's like you bring in the Hardy brothers, the Hardy boys. They come back.
Mm-hmm.
And they get the belt to WrestleMania, and then they lose them. And then it's like, what? Tweet, nothing?
It's so hard to... I mean, from our seats, you know, to envision why they can't see what we see. Like, well, I don't grasp that. I've never understood that.
I don't think it's they don't see it. It's just, you know, think of like what we were talking about just a minute ago with NXT and WWE.
Yeah.
All right, NXT, maybe Vince looks at it as it's on the network.
Right.
It's not competing with me. You know, it's on my network. I don't have to worry about it. Well, and who knows if he has as much day-to-day overseeing. You know what I mean? Like if he's handling his 2 TV shows and all the other stuff, Triple H is doing this, and maybe a lot of it's William Regal. Sorry. But
well, I don't think Vince has anything to do with NXT. Because I cannot recall ever seeing Vince, but maybe one time on NXT.
I've seen Linda in the audience. Yeah. But, I mean, maybe that's where it is. And it's just, you can have those.
It's one of the facts of the matter is they keep hiring these episodic soap opera writers that don't know a damn thing about wrestling. Everybody who's left the WWE will tell you. Everybody, you know, people in the WWE will tell you. That's the problem.
So, I mean, what do you do?
They don't know wrestling. You give the reins over to people that know wrestling. Arn Anderson, trying to remember who some of the other agents are.
Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes is apparently a genius when it comes to this, from what you hear. Let him take a turn at it.
Well, and maybe that's why NXT is successful as it is because look who's doing it. It's Triple H.
Yeah.
Heads, you know, together with William Regal, and you know, you see Michael Hayes involved a little bit. You see some other people, but you know, they bring it. And how much more of this are you going to have till people like Bobby Roode, Adam Cole, Drew McIntyre just say, you know what? No thanks. I'll stay right here.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because wait a minute, I'm making just as much money
with less travel.
Less travel, and I get to be in the main event.
Mm-hmm. And people love us.
And I'm still selling more merch than I have in the history of my career. You know, because you can't say as soon as the WWE has the Adam Cole baby shirt, it is not going to sell out.
And the whole crowd was screaming "Adam Cole, baby!" when he left the arena last night. That was pretty cool too.
So I mean, unless they're gonna surprise us and put the belt on Joe tonight,
which is more likely.
Or Braun. I mean, I wouldn't mind Braun either.
I think at least with Braun, you've got somebody that he's already on Raw every week. The title's there. There's exposure, and it only serves to help elevate him.
Any of them are on to Raw.
I told Stan earlier I would almost even rather it go to Reigns
than Braun,
just because he's on TV and will defend it.
Yeah,
I can't go that
far. I in this particular, I can go that far.
So, before the main event here gets underway, let's talk a little bit about some more news that kind of happened around the week. With Alberto Del Rio being suspended indefinitely from Global Force Wrestling, he was stripped of the Global Force World Championship. Also, Jim Cornette made his debut at Global Force Wrestling, firing Bruce Pritchard as the authority figure. Now Jim Cornette is on the on-screen authority role. The tapings for Impact, the next 6 months, they are...
I don't think it's 6 months, is it? Is it only like a week or two?
Let me take a look here. They've got 3 or 4 weeks worth, starting from... We'll look at the 18th. We'll go to that one.
Well, I will spoil it. Because Rob's man happens to get the world title, which is a total shocker there.
How the hell?
Mr. Eli Drake.
Yeah, dummy.
Because he knows he's getting ready to go into color commentary.
I never would have seen that one coming. Lord have mercy.
I was really... I'm not disappointed in that, because I think that's actually kind of cool. It's good for Eli Drake, but man, you've got so many different top talents there. Eli Drake's who you go with. Oh, by the way, in more Global Force news,
Heat Seekers are now in Global Force.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And also Brodus Clay, better known as Tyrus,
is out.
Is gone. Released from Global Force Wrestling after essentially refusing to show up to their most recent set of tapings. He stated in his Instagram video that he did not like what Creative was doing, didn't feel like it should be a situation where he's playing phone tag with different people in the company, and he'd asked him for his release, and he got his release.
Well, he probably should have stuck around, because I think the ratings have not only leveled off, but they are starting to creep back up.
Can you believe it? For the first time since 2010, and that's when Hogan and Bischoff debuted. They didn't last very long, but when they debuted, for the first time since that point, Impact's ratings are growing.
Well, again, talking about pure geniuses, either Jared is a pure genius, or he just knows how to surround himself with geniuses. Because I don't think Pritchard's gone; he's just off air.
Right. I mean, this was done to set the stage for the next set of tapings.
Well, I mean, you think about it, with Impact, Global Force, whatever, fill in name here, MaxiPad Pro Cup, I don't know, whatever they're going to call it.
MaxiPad, what?
Whatever, whoever's got the biggest checkbook, I guess. But when when Jeff Jarrett was in charge of it before Dixie Carter ran into the ground, I mean, it was successful at a point. I mean, that's when we saw it in Charlottesville, and that's where it was good, because not that he was in charge, but it's just it's that old school. There's a wrestler in charge of the book.
That knows what he's doing,
right,
and knows how to write it.
It's not just, I've got money, so I'm going to run a wrestling company. I mean, you see it with any company, any sports, anything. Just because the person's a business person doesn't mean they can run like, NASCAR or football, or wrestling.
Yeah. To me, you should probably listen to the guy who took it from a weekly pay-per-view out of Australia, if I remember right.
Yep.
And then actually made, a legit number 2 company only to have it crash and burn when they forced him out. So again, maybe I'll start paying attention to it.
To go out,
that's there, and
right.
The Heat Seekers are there. They got some decent talent. I'm not saying they don't have talent, but that I guess it takes balls to put it on Eli Drake. Maybe there's something about him that we don't know about. So
he's got a contract with ACWF. That's a problem. You don't know about it. But I think it's, you think about it, is Jeff Jarrett basically created TNA out of what was already there.
Right.
Of his dad's company or something. Then he gets forced out, goes and creates another company, creates this other company on the back of other companies.
Look at the sign.
Roman Reigns has poop for parade.
And the fact that they stayed right there, that's awesome.
And because it's not a cuss word and it's an emoji, they're like, yeah, we can show it.
Yeah.
But you think about it. He made Global Force on the back of other promotions.
Yeah.
Because how many Global Force single things did he do and not, hey, I'm going to come in and partner with you and we're going to call it Global Force.
Well, and how fitting is it that Jeff Jarrett is who takes it away from Dixie Carter?
Exactly.
Let's see here. It's John Hennigan, better known as John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, if you will, making his debut in
Johnny
Global Force, is now known as, I can't believe this, but Johnny freaking Impact. That's stupid. It's just stupid.
Maybe if he ever goes back to Lucha, he'll be Johnny Lucha Underground.
Johnny Lucha.
Johnny WWE.
Johnny Nitro. Johnny Raw.
Yeah, Johnny Raw.
Johnny SmackDown. He goes to NXT. Is it Johnny Next?
He won't go to NXT because they'll take him straight to the main roster and bury him like they've done everybody else.
I was going to say, he'd be the guy, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll bring you right back to Raw, sure. And then Braun squashes him and throws him through an ambulance or something.
It'd be like the Spirit Squad. Come out here so Brock can just throw you from...
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I'm covering all the news of the week. That's pretty much the things that we've seen.
Nope.
Flair.
You forgot the biggest thing, and I'm like...
Let me start this off by saying I feel like the biggest asshole in the world because we're talking about Flair last week, and I made this stupid comment in jest of could you imagine, and I didn't finish it, thank God. But then the next day, there's a report of Ric Flair being in not just serious condition, but critical condition, and Monday Night Raw starts off with, please put your prayers and your thoughts to Ric Flair at this very trying time. I felt horrible, and I'm glad to know that he is awake and communicating and talking with people, but I felt kind of like I had put a jinx out there, and I really didn't feel good about that.
It's all your fault.
Well, that's not true.
I'm just kidding. But, I mean, it's good to see he's better. Thoughts and prayers are still with him and his family. And hope he recovers.
I'm glad to hear that he's awake. Ryan, what do you think?
Cutting promos on nurses.
Asking him for sponge baths, you think?
And I thought...
It would be nice if they had that one recorded. Just to see how a nature boy in the Raw cuts a promo. You know what I'm saying?
Fresh from the coma.
Yeah, fresh from a surgery. You know, when his wits are not quite all there. Let's hear the promo.
What is the Ric Flair coming off anesthesia promo? You know, I am the limousine riding kangaroo flying.
You know what? I mean, think about it. If he could have pulled that whole spring out, coming out of anesthesia or, whatever, or waking up, that would be pretty good.
One-eyed purple.
Why don't you come on over here and ride Space Mountain?
What?
I'm glad to hear that Ric Flair's awake and communicating, cutting promos. My understanding from reports from both Charlotte Flair and from his agent, his talent agency that represents him, is that he has a long road ahead of him. A long road ahead of him, and we are hopeful and definitely putting prayers and thoughts out to the Flair family that he makes a full recovery and is back on TV before we know it.
I think the WWE graphic for the Universal title should take out the diamonds that are missing from the belt. Make it true to scale.
There you go with that logic.
So
we're at the main event time, guys. Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, and Brock Lesnar. Fatal 4-way for the Universal Championship.
Did you see how Roman just fell out of the ring?
Go ahead. What's his name? Mike Hales.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday
to the Don of wrestling fans, Papa Mike Hales. He was at Nova Pro, guys,
yes,
on the 18th. Celebrated with the gated community. And hey, by the way, the gated community suffered defeat against the Carnies, which is to be expected, really. I mean, come on. Alexander James, Logan Easton LaRue. I don't even know who the third guy is.
Haters are gonna hate. And jealous is jealousy. And you're just mad because they won't let you sit in their seats. They will let you go get their popcorn, but you can't sit in the seats.
I want to sit next to that absolutely stunning woman that was sitting over there.
Brian and I can sit in their seats next time we go to Nova Pro.
And drink their horribly flavored sparkling cider.
Been invited from the Don himself.
You have. You have been invited.
And you can sit over there with the trash can.
Wow.
In the trash can, on the trash can, hold the trash can.
Can Duke the Dumpster Drosy come sit with me?
And when I snap my fingers, you can bring me more popcorn.
Rob, did you
just quote Taylor Swift?
I don't know.
I think he just...
Oh, Lord. Here goes the next lawsuit.
Rob, did you grab her ass?
Nope.
No.
Oh, yeah, the hater's gonna hate. But no, I didn't say hate.
Go ahead, Tay-Tay.
I didn't say haters gonna hate.
She's got that copy written. All right, we've got Braun and Brock toe-to-toe. It's even
Shake
funnier.
it off, Eddie. Shake it off.
It's even funnier when it shows up on the TV screen.
Oh. Eddie, all those people at your house, you might as well get some
Oh.
That looked like it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Brock says, wait.
But is it me, or did Brock come to the ring with a little bit more game face than normal?
Yeah, he's. I think he gets angry sometimes. And I didn't see the whole message, but I think he gets angry sometimes with how probably the guys talk about him in the locker room. Oh, there's Brock. He's back for his once a quarter matchup.
Oh, it's his own fault. Either commit one way or the other.
Oh! Brock gets speared through the rail. He's like, oh, shit.
I'm sorry. When they threw Roman out of the ring earlier,
Joe's like,
when Roman got thrown out by Braun Strowman, Roman landed outside and just had that look like, here we go. I'm going to get thrown out. And then he's going to do this because they've been doing it on WWE Live.
Oh! Ow. Give Roman credit. He sells those well. Oh!
Hey, hold on. Hold the frame.
Oh, look, the
right
TV
here.
monitors do work.
Oh, look at that.
Hold the frame right there so we can see what kind of sound equipment they use.
Really? No, wait, go back.
It looks like they're plugged in, all plugged into something underneath.
Now on Raw, was anybody else wondering the same question of whose cell phone that was on the ring?
Oh yeah.
Was that Dean Ambrose's phone, or was that just a fan that was like, "Oh crap, my phone dropped"? And
Brock
did they
Lesnar's
ever
a little
get
out of
it
his
back?
depth here against Braun Strowman, it seems. Oh no.
Well, I think the spear might have got him a little bit more than he thought.
Oh, Brock's coming down.
Oh, no.
No, he ain't.
Oh! Swish. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, Eddie.
Well, the guy who he was in front of realized.
Okay. Sorry, most weeks this doesn't happen, but
Listen to the
Barkley.
crowd.
anytime Eddie comments or something, it comes on the screen.
Well, he says he thinks he belonged to a little girl. That sucks.
Well, yeah, I think it was a little bit, yeah.
You can't tell me some WWE official's not going to be like, all right, here's your phone back.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not.
They'll give it to her.
He probably got stepped on.
I'd lean over and grab it.
No one.
And then security would attack you.
Right. Look out!
Oh!
Oh my God! Flying fat man.
With an elbow.
I don't know what was worse, the fact that Joe didn't have anybody to catch him or the fact that he hit his face bowl first.
Ow!
Forearm, all on it.
Barclays Center's all about it right now. Not a single person in there. Well, except
Brock's
no,
getting up.
How is Brock getting up?
He's not really. He's more like flopping around like a dead fish.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the chair again.
Portions of tonight's match brought to you by the Office Depot, makers of great home and office furnishings like that chair that just went flying.
Why,
So on Monday, when you're at your office saying your chair sucks, just remember, you threw it across a conference room and still be in one piece.
Just throw it at your boss.
No.
I need a new chair.
Well, it looked like
If
the
you do
corner
that-
caught Reigns right in the head.
If you do that, you can call Stan and he will pay you.
Uh-oh.
Not again. Oh, come on.
Well, this is the way
Hey,
to
look.
do it. You just
Come
keep
on, Brock.
dropping Brock through tables.
Get up now, champ. Get up now.
No wonder they have all those people up there announcing.
That's crazy.
Look at Tom Phillips. Oh, crying. Criminy.
I
I
can't
spilled
say
my
pictures
water on my pants.
That wasn't water. He caught me.
Hey, Braun, was you going to pull my finger?
They are.
Brock's gone.
He ain't
No,
going.
no,
He'll be
no,
back
no.
and get the win.
No.
No, I'm okay. Go on. Y'all go on.
He'll
Yeah.
run in and hit the F5.
Yeah, at the very
Quick
end.
victory.
Yeah. Did y'all see the video of Brock when he was in Ohio Valley or whatever, hitting the 450s?
Yeah. That dude, he was just as big as he was when he debuted in WWE, but he's flying, hitting that shooting star press. I saw it on YouTube the other day, a dark match, where it was Shelton Benjamin and Brock Lesnar as a tag team.
Oh,
Speaking of
Lord.
Shelton Benjamin, is he ever going to show up?
Apparently, he just got cleared
Is he still
for
hurt?
shoulder surgery, and he's coming back. Oh,
No,
oh
there
no!
we
Hey,
go.
come on. How to get rid of Brock Lesnar in 4 easy
Oh,
steps.
dude.
There's
Yeah,
4
close your
tables.
legs or something there, bud. Don't
Oh, that's
take
gonna
that.
hurt.
That was right on the knees.
Ow!
That didn't hurt. That didn't hurt. Ow, that hurt.
He's dead, Jim. Dude. Doctors.
And Strowman picks up the 7-10 split with the desks.
Oh, there's Adam Pearce, Jamie Noble, Finley. Shout out to the former NWA World Champ, Adam Pearce. Not that he's going to respond right now. He's a little busy.
The fact that he cares.
Yeah, he's actually very cool.
Very.
And, yeah, maybe the Barclays Center, what we talked about earlier with them advertising
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, not the world champion Brock Lesnar.
Probably just a goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. That was my retirement,
Screw
man.
you fans. I hate you.
I'm going back to MMA where it's real.
He's John Bones Jones is the one that's challenging him, so that could be interesting.
Oh, he's throwing the X. That's crazy. I've had enough. He's tapping out.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Brock could actually be injured here. This is...
Oh, his back's cut. It looked like his back is cut.
Well, he didn't just go through that table. He was pushed through it, kind
I
of.
mean, which one?
Well, that one collapsed for him. That wouldn't have right.
Hey, Brock turns purple so bad.
Yeah, he does. You never really know if he's hurt or not.
Yeah.
That one was more like he had to be thrown through it, like pushed through it. And then this... Ow! That, right, just like Rob said, lands right over top of his knees. Before I forget, if you haven't already, fans, you need to listen to and watch Being the Elite on YouTube.
See that, Eddie? another one converted.
That is some of the funniest material they do.
Yeah.
They're right now. They're in the midst of this storyline where there's been a WWE stooge that's cost them the ability to say F the revival. They can say hashtag FTR, but they can't say the actual phrase. And I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I'm loving it.
Stop licking your lips, Braun. It's creepy.
Look, they took him out through the crowd, too.
They like him. They like him. Nah. Hey. Goodbye, Brock.
He'll be back. Yeah, I like being the Elite. I think it's funny. Did y'all see the one, the video they put out where Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were in the sauna? And Adam Cole comes in and they start singing Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yes! Braun saying, here, I didn't like throwing the chair, we'll throw the steps.
You know, one thing I thought about this show with the things popping up, it's kind of like that VH1 that used to be there.
Video.
Yeah.
Did you know Braun used to work at?
What?
Oh, there.
He did get good distance on those steps. You're absolutely correct, sir.
See, are we missing anything?
I don't think so. We talked
Dude
about...
must have missed his cutoff in
Got a little bit more air.
He's
Dude
gonna
must
have
have
to
missed
settle
his
for
cutoff
Braun.
on his seats because somebody else got his seats. He's all the way over here on the end.
Oh! Reigns looks like he's a little bit out of it. He's kind of lazy legs.
He's always got lazy legs. He does the whole I'm going to get
he
my butt
almost
whipped.
went into the steps. Uh-oh.
The break.
Roman.
Hit him with the wrong one. Knocks him upside the head with the pointy part.
Oh!
Left. Look, it's bent.
Braun's like, do it again. Ugh. I ain't scared of you, punk.
It's bent.
It's because it hit.
Oh,
great! Oh, man. That might be it. Wait a minute.
No, if he'd put him in the Coquino clutch. Uh-oh. This would be good, though. He goes to...
Oh, he bounced him twice off his knee.
He was burping him.
Ooh.
There's only so much way you can sell that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Braun Strowman took batting practice at Yankee Stadium. He went 3 for 4 at batting practice.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, I'd hate to see what a bat looks like in his hands.
Like a toothpick. I mean, you'd have to hand him like a light pole or something for it to look like a real bat. Yeah, you're not wrong. He did actually do batting practice at Yankee Stadium.
But notice you didn't use the rest of the setup on that.
I'm just saying.
Oh, see, look, in typical Roman Reigns fashion, he just gets all those moves, and now he turns around and he's like, I can do it.
It's not a Roman Reigns match until he lights up the Superman punch.
Oh, it's coming. Look, he's standing up.
Here he comes.
He's doing the big, deep breaths because his girdle's too tight.
Ooh-ah.
Here it goes.
Oh, look at
Strowman's cut.
Good job, Roman.
See?
There you go. Superman punch.
You're going to get choked out here.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Kick him in the Jimmy.
Night, Roman. What is this? Braun said, no.
My title.
Oh.
Braun's like, he punched me in the face.
Oh, man.
Dang, his head is cut. That was close.
Well, I will have to say this is not your typical...
Fatal 4-way.
This is not your WWE rule. This is not the Hefner rule.
Yeah,
No.
This is not the Hefner rule for sure.
Somebody's sending word to the back now. Get them in line. This is not how we do things.
I want the Hefner rule in place, and I want it now.
Damn it, Roman, roll out.
You just see randomly all three of them roll out.
Now, not all of you roll out.
God, son of a... See Vince go running. I can't believe it.
Listen, if you two don't get in there, then we got no match. All three can't be out.
We said the Hefner rule, not the Vince McMahon rule.
Is that where they tear both quads when they roll in the ring?
Tom Phillips, you get in there and fight now. Randy Joe.
We got to. Sorry, buddy.
What'd I tell you?
Here comes
What'd I
Brock. He's a man. Oh wait, that's.
I mean, they have actually been beating the tar out of each other.
Yeah.
So
Brock's like, screw you.
oh, spear.
Oh, no, he's going to bust him open hard way on his head. Nope. That's not Randy Orton you're in there with, buddy.
He's got some.
Ooh!
Those are some potatoes.
Ow.
That's what happened. Yep. Vince said, "Hey, have the rules in effect."
Yep. Way to go, Rob. You ruined it.
Roll him out. Roman is rolling.
Brock, I want you to clear the ring. You're in charge, pal.
There you go. Joe's out. Have the rules in effect.
Damn it, Rob.
You're welcome.
Strowman said, no, I don't like to have the rule. What's this? Suplex City.
Oh, no.
Hey, Brock, grab a little lower for me, please.
Keep pulling. Keep pulling.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Kimura lock. Braun does not care. That's a little strain on that arm, though. Look at that. Don't tap. Don't wuss out.
Oh! Now having the rules in effect.
Bam!
Oh my God! If they let Roman Reigns beat these three,
Everybody.
Oh, it's because he's so good. Everybody loves him.
But he's the man.
Yeah. He's the heir apparent to sit his throne.
He's the next big thing. Oh, wait, no, that's Brock. That was a crappy spear.
God, I so cannot wait till February.
Wow,
I'm sorry. If that would have been the end,
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
If that would have been the end, I would have gotten up and you'd had to do the Brian rule for me tonight because I'd have been out the door.
And Rob says goodbye.
Rob said he can't catch this. Come on.
Well, remember, Brian says he's going to break a television.
If what?
Come on, Brian. You said you're going to break a TV if it ends a certain way.
I did.
Yeah, come on, Mick Foley.
Bad call, Mick Foley.
As we're watching on this 70-inch.
I was going to say, this isn't just some tube TV. Oh!
Katrina's going to lose her game TV, I think.
Katrina, I got to do it, honey. I'm sorry.
Brian's like,
I would never be able to watch wrestling again. Just went and took the TV and threw it out in the street.
Oh! Wait a minute. Could this be it? Oh! Nope. Brock says no.
Brock! Wouldn't that disqualify him?
Putting
his hands on the ref?
There's no DQ in a Fatal 4-Way.
There's no DQ? Oh, good. All right. Go and get it, Brock.
I have a feeling. I'm feeling if that happened, there would be a certain person that would make Brian drive to Pro Wrestling Tees to return his boxes.
Yeah,
you know, like,
by hand.
You need to go there.
You're going to hand them each box.
And you're going to tell them you're sorry.
You're going to fold each T-shirt.
You're going to say you're sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Come
on.
What? Come on.
No.
No way.
I stood him up. Wow.
He's like, is this is he serious?
Listen,
fans
you get nothing.
Get the chant going.
Nothing
You're not the
but
Rock.
booze.
You're not the Rock.
That's the right time to do it.
This is when you need.
Oh!
This is when you need Cole and O'Reilly and Fish to come in there again.
They're in the back going, Bobby, you want to go out?
We're just going to take over everything.
Nope. I'm fine right here.
We's good, sir. We's good.
About that rematch.
I would love to take on Drew McIntyre again.
I still don't think he gets one. I think they're going to move right into Adam Cole.
You're probably right.
Probably do Adam Cole versus Bobby Roode.
Oh, wow. I mean, I could see that. That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah, but that'd be why though if you just had they didn't jump Bobby Roode.
Make him earn it.
But no, Cole takes out McIntyre. Bobby Roode comes back and says, well, I never got my rematch.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, there you go, Brian. Here's your finish. Nope. Or not.
Superman punch.
Oh,
spear.
That didn't look good for Brock's leg. Ouch.
And having the rules still.
Rob, you have rules.
Bless Vince. Turn the radio off, bud.
Yeah.
We appreciate you listening, but
Vince
not right now.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon, come up with your own crap.
Rob wants royalties.
Good luck with that.
What we didn't know is Arn Anderson ever has to listen to this. I got to put up with that again.
You know, you saying Arn's the WWE stooge? Oh, nope. Uh-oh. That's right, Joe. Do us the favor. Yeah, get out of there. I'm going to be the guy that beats the beast.
No.
I'm going to choke this one. Oh, look at his face.
And it would always go so purple.
I'm going to choke this mother. I'm going to choke this mother. Choke this mother.
The latest hit from Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Choke this mother.
Brock's like, no, you're not.
Oh.
It's a new duet.
Somebody got to break this up.
Roman's
Come on, Roman.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Oh, clubbed him right in the forehead.
Right? Sorry. All the potatoes in there.
Somebody's got to tell Roman that even in Superman versus Batman, Superman sold. All right?
For a while.
You know, I mean, he even sold. That's why the other two were like, no, I don't want to be in the Shield.
Man, how many times can you cock the fist?
He's got to reload. It's like a shotgun. You got to reload.
Like a shotgun?
Does he do it?
Oh, he does it again!
He's reloading.
Wrong ammo.
Oh, don't want to forget your figure there, bud.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the other day at Walmart, they had a box up top.
Uh-huh.
I pulled it down and it had 2 Undertakers and 2 Warriors in it.
Man. And the Walmart near my place never replenished their stock. It's still the same, like, 8 figures they've had since I got them the first time.
Oh, you walked into that one.
Dummy. Yes! You lose, dummy!
My favorite move all night.
Wait. Damn it.
So,
Well,
one F5 does it.
Yep.
That's it. One F5.
give him the belt, quick! Paul Heyman is that little guy friend that stands behind him.
Well, I will say this.
And your mama, too.
This is the most Brock's worked in a match since the Undertaker match.
Well, Rumble with him and Cena and Rollins.
No, because that was mostly Rollins and Cena.
All right, so Rock has just beaten.
You're only a couple of seconds behind us. Newsflash, Carmella just came out with the Money in the Bank case. She's going to cash it against Brock Lesnar.
He gave it to Ellsworth.
Oh, Lesnar would beat the living hell out of Ellsworth.
I would pay to see it.
As he's laying there on the ringside right now, he calls the Gales ref over. Come here.
I'll give him $5 and a Domino's pizza if Brock Lesnar beats the hell out of Ellsworth.
I would love that.
So where does the World Heavyweight title picture go from here?
Man, it's anybody's guess.
The India tour.
The India tour? Oh, yeah, because it's SmackDown. Yeah. Good one, Eddie. That should have been it. Sending Brock back out there would not have made just Dr.
Because that would have then saved Brock. Been like, all right, well, yes, you lost the title, but they didn't pin you.
Right, and they could have gotten him in a one-on-one match.
Right.
Okay, do me a favor. I'm going to cut in for a hot second. Noting the factor of Lesnar retaining the belt tonight, how does he carry that belt forward into this alleged challenge, between John Bones Jones and Brock Lesnar? Will it be a UFC champion versus a WWE champion inside the octagon?
I'm going to go out on a limb right here and say that Brock Lesnar defends tomorrow night against Finn Balor and loses. They're going to do like a Night After Mania kind of setup. That's what I think. I don't think they're going to let Brock go into UFC with that belt.
I don't see why not. I mean, it ain't like he's going to put it on the line.
They let him go 4 months without showing up. What the heck?
Let a man believe.
All right, let's go round table hot second.
All right.
Overall grade, 1 through 5. Or you can take it traditional A through F. Stan?
Yeah, let's do A through F. I'll 8th ref.
All right.
That's what I'm used to.
B minus.
Rob?
Solid delivery. Some of the matchups still got some question marks, but B minus.
Rob?
Up until that last one, I would say a B.
Including the last one?
Well, the last one, the finish wasn't great, but the match itself I thought was good until they went back to the Hefner rule and they all started getting out of the ring.
Just amazing.
Brian?
Oh, there's no Hefner rule tonight.
Everyone roll out.
I think I'd have to agree with Stan and put it about a B minus.
Agreed on that one. Match of the night so far? Brian?
Match of the night. I actually didn't think the match of the night was on the pre-show.
Oh, wow.
I would put the New Day versus the Usos the match of the night.
Rob?
Of what I saw, Sheamus and Cesaro versus,
Yeah.
the tag match.
Okay. Stan?
Out of all of them, I guess I would probably agree with Rob and say the tag title match, Sheamus and Cesaro against the Shield. Although that main event was pretty good. It's kind of
ending
tough to take away. Yeah, the ending wasn't very good, but it was competitive. It wasn't a typical Hefner rule match until it got thrown out there. But no, it was a good event.
Too much Roman Reigns for me, though.
Once per decade is too much Roman Reigns for me personally.
Wow.
I'm telling you, y'all didn't have the pleasure. Go watch the tag team, the Usos versus the New Day.
Oh, we saw that.
No, I'm talking about these two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I missed the pre-show.
So,
But gentlemen, I will turn it back over to y'all and let y'all go ahead and get ready to sign out.
All right, well.
I'll give it back over to y'all for y'all to shut up and leave.
Hey, some of us have to be at work earlier than others in the morning.
That's true.
That's normally my line.
Right?
Oh, then I got to change vocal. I got to be at work in the morning.
That's pretty good Brian right there.
Thank you very much. I just can't say the S word right now. Neither can you.
Shit.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Said the prostitute always.
Yeah, he just keeps bitching of doing.
That's a softball, right?
Yeah,
Brian keeps catching.
This is one of them the high pitch softballs where you pitch it way up in the air.
It's the bright yellow ones, yeah.
Floater.
It's the wiffle ball.
Well,
busy week of wrestling it's been. UCW was an awesome experience. Can't wait to go back on September 23rd. Remember, UCWforever.com. Tickets go on sale this coming Friday for September 23rd's UCW television taping for Defiance. You can catch me on Twitter at Stan from Krypton and Facebook Stan Grubb, Instagram Corner, the number 2 Corner, and then C2C Radio Show for the show. Stick with us because we've got a lot more to come next week. Can't wait to see you. Rob, where do they catch you on social media?
At Rob Hefner on Facebook, at Rob Hefner on the Twitter, or I think it's at Rob Hefner C2C on the Twitter. On Instagram, it's RDHUWP. And yeah, it's been fun. Been a busy week.
And Brian can be found at STRCP21 on the Twitter machine. He's on Facebook. He's on something.
It gets easier and
Bookface,
easier every week.
MySpace, whatever.
Yeah, Brian's MySpace account is...
That's right, he does have a MySpace account. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want to see what's on there? That's all.
No, not really.
That's all we got for this week. We will see you next week right here on Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. Have a good night, everybody.